Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This is going to be the first AFK journey video I upload, and it's going to be a guide for the Primal Lord Lone Gaze because on my server we just defeated this world boss. I started 3 days after the global launch, so if you guys started on a server later than me or you plan to start a new account anytime in the future, maybe this video can help you. Even if you are on an account where this world boss has already been destroyed, I think these teams will carry over towards the upcoming Primal Lord, which for me is going to be happening in 5 days. And so I really am excited to go through these teams. I managed to finish in the top 20, in fact rank 16 on the leaderboard, and 2 of my guildmates finished rank 3 and rank 4, and I asked them which teams they use, and we're going to be discussing all of them today, also about which levels you should be ascending them to for maximum effectiveness. So just to take a quick look at the leaderboard, the internal inscription. We did manage to rank 16, and 2 of our guildmates, Andrusius and Korvo, ranked 3 and rank 4. We almost were able to get 10 million damage. I think if I was able to attack right when the day reset, I would be able to do it, but we destroyed the world boss within minutes of the day resetting. And okay guys, so let's quickly try to go through the teams. I'm first going to talk about all the heroes individually, and then how they slot into this team, because there may be 8 or 9 different heroes which people were running and I think are the best options to run. So Thoran is a great tank, but he also has a great debuff which will cause your team to deal increased damage to enemy bosses or enemy units that he applies Soul Plunder onto. And that is why he's a great option as a tank and debuffer. Kruger is similar, although he doesn't tank as well, but he has the defense shatter debuff, which will allow your physical damage to deal more damage due to reducing the defense of the opponent. Smokey is probably the best healer. I haven't seen people run any healer apart from Smokey. They run other supports, like for example Koko, which we'll come to, but Smokey is usually the best healer. He heals the most, he has the attack buff on your team and in his aura, and also he can even give haste to your team. And so he's a great option. He can deal a little bit of damage if he's at Mythic Plus, but that really isn't too important. Even 1 copy of him is good enough. So Odie is the key damage dealer for this Primal Lord, and even in Dream Realm, he's just one of the best damage dealers in the game. So if you guys are new or you haven't played too much and you're watching this video, make sure that you spend all of your Dream Realm currency on getting copies of Odie and try to send him up to, honestly, even Supreme Plus as quickly as possible, but definitely like Mythic Plus is going to help you also in PvE content. So he's the best damage dealer for this team. Cecia is not the best damage dealer option for the team. For example, Marilee is going to be a better damage dealer, but for me, I didn't have Marilee at Mythic Plus, especially because I was focusing all Dream Realm currency on Odie, and I think a lot of people are going to be in a similar position. By this point in the game, it's difficult to have multiple Mythic Plus A rank heroes. So Marilee I didn't use at all. Instead, I use Cecia sometimes, I use Smokey sometimes, and then recently I started using Shakir as well, but we will talk about that. So Cecia is a great option. You're going to have her usually one of the highest ascended characters on your team, because you're going to be buying copies of her from the arena shop, keeping her in your wish list. You're using her in PvE content. She's probably going to be your highest level, although you can rearrange levels, so that doesn't really matter. And you might even have her at her Mythic Plus, although that ability doesn't matter too much for this boss specifically, but she can get off a pretty good amount of damage, so she's a good option. And Andrusius, who finished 3rd I believe in our server, he was running Cecia and Odie as double damages, which I was really surprised to hear, because I thought Cecia was never going to be able to compete with Marilee, because our 4th ranked player Korvo, he was running Marilee and Odie as damage dealers, but he wasn't able to get quite as much damage as the other one, and I think it was a level difference, but either way, Cecia is totally a viable option. And also she can help you with those factions, because we have, for example, 2 Grave Ones here, 3 Maulers. So those are the roles of these 5 heroes I have here, but let's go ahead and remove 3 of them and add a few more which are key. The other key, basically, 3 heroes I would really recommend for the Primal Lord. So Shakir is a good hero because he can deal a pretty decent amount of damage. He has a buff in his aura, like within 2 tiles of him, that reduces damage taken to him and allies and increases their haste. And also if you can get him to Mythic Plus and you level up his exclusive weapon to level 10, which is that's asking for a lot, and a lot of people are not going to be able to do that, then he also will share his attack buff with nearby allies who are within 2 tiles. But the problem really with him is that he's really only going to be usually buffing your front line, and your front line is not where your damage dealers are. And so that's kind of my issue with Shakir. Like, if he could be buffing your backline permanently with his buff, he would be one of the best heroes in the game. Even right now, he is one of the best, but he's a very viable option. He's also Mauler, so he can help you with those faction buffs. So Koko is, but before we go to Koko, let's talk about Marilee. So Marilee, really at Mythic Plus is where she shines, because then she gets the ability that after 6 ultimate casts, then she, or of anyone in your team, then she will begin doing true damage with her attack. She stacks up her attack with those 6 casts, and then she begins dealing true damage, and that true damage is insane. So she's probably the second best damage dealer after Odie when she's fully built up. But if you don't have her at Mythic Plus, like me, I only have her at Mythic, and other people might only have our Legendary Plus or Legendary, she is not going to deal that much damage. And I found that Cecia usually dealt more damage or was more stable for my team, because she provides another tank in there with her summon, and she just gets damage off consistently. But Marilee is good at Mythic Plus. If you can get her to there in time, then it is a really good option. But so for the Primal Lord, which is coming up, which is the bear, I'm definitely going to be trying to get Mythic Plus Marilee. Try to get her to her exclusive weapon level 10, or at least level 5. Level 5 is quite doable on a lot of characters because you only need the blue shards. The golden shards are very much more rare, and it needs like high ranking in Dream Realm or first time obtain rewards from ranking high in arena or getting to the higher arena divisions. But that is something to keep in mind. Koko is one of the best supports, but I did use her for one of my high power clears. I got 9.3 million, and with Koko, and this was like 2 or 3 days before we even cleared the boss, and so that was a really big power jump that I was able to get off. But then from that point on, she wasn't really helping me too much, mainly because her ultimate is always not going to be timed at the appropriate point where you want to protect your Odie from all those wolves that are going to attack him and kill him. And so if it's not at the perfect time, it kind of becomes wasted. But that being said, Andrusius, who was rank 3 on our server, he was running this team with Thoran and Smokey, this exact team right here, with Koko. And Koko was only Legendary Plus, or it was Mythic, it wasn't even Mythic Plus. So I do think that with Legendary Plus, Koko gets a bit of haste, and that can help you cast more times. Mythic Plus, she gets a shield as soon as her buff goes off, and maybe that could give some survivability. But for me, I didn't have the most success with Koko for maximizing my score. But that's also because I was able to, just the day before, get Thoran up to Mythic Plus. Thoran at Mythic Plus is a huge buff, so now I think we're just going to go into talking about... so if you just want to recap the teams which I originally used was Shakir, and it was actually an all Mauler team to get like a 4 times Mauler buff. And you have the debuff with Kruger, you have Shakir for some extra damage, you have Koko for the protection of your team, and Odie just to get off as much damage as possible. This allowed me to get to 9.3 million a few days before the reset. So this is a team I really recommend, or if you don't want to use... for example, Shakir, you can replace him with Thoran, or Cecia as another damage dealer. Totally viable options. But yeah, this is what I used. Apart from that, what Andrusius used we've already discussed. What Korvo used is a team of Thoran, Smokey. Everyone uses Smokey and Odie, as you can see, Marilee. And I believe Kruger was his final, and then he changed it to Shakir on the final day, or the final few days, but he was running Kruger for some time. So again, it's all about getting debuffs, which are Kruger, Thoran. You have Odie and Marilee to deal massive damage, especially if Marilee is Mythic Plus. If she's not Mythic Plus, I would probably say CC is maybe better, but you can experiment. And then just Smokey is the key healer, but you really only need 1 copy of him. Mythic Plus of all heroes is going to benefit them, but the really key heroes you want at a higher ascension, that's what I'm going to talk about right now, is Thoran is the number 1 in my opinion, because the fact that when he gets that high ascension, we can look at the skills now. Go into the skills. just to have something to look at while we discuss it. So when he has the Soul Pact, Thoran takes some damage for an ally, and if we look at his exclusive weapon, even unleveled, just reading the description, before battle starts, Thoran signs a pact with the ally on the tile behind him, agreeing to take 50% damage for this ally until the battle ends. When Thoran is defeated, then the ally sacrifices, but usually it will not even come to that in the Primal Lord. Like, Thoran has 2 lives already, and the boss is usually targeting your back line, so Thoran survives most of the time. And he is just going to safeguard the carry you put behind him, and Odie is going to be your highest damage carry, and so you just put Odie behind the Thoran. Thoran protects him, and I was able to then get 9.7, almost 9.8 million, and maybe even if I had another attack today, I would have been able to break 10 million. Just basically from Odie high damage and Thoran the Soul Pact. So Thoran Mythic Plus is great, but if you don't have him, there are alternatives like we mentioned. Koko is an alternative, and honestly, coming to think of it, when I set my wish list originally, I was having Kruger copies because I thought Kruger is a key boss monster, so I should try to get his copies, but his Mythic Plus is not as impactful as maybe Koko's Mythic Plus. Maybe that would give you more survivability that you need, along with Smokey heals to allow you to survive even without like a Mythic Plus Thoran. But either way, Thoran is a good option because if we look at his other skill, which we discussed, is look at the full Soul Plunder. So when he's at when this is at level 3, 16% increased damage is taken by the boss for the rest of the battle, and also he deals damage reflection. 180% of damage received during the charge. So if the boss is dealing a lot of damage to him, he can just reflect that right back. So that's why Thoran is really good. Cecia, we don't really have to discuss. She deals damage. She summons the thing, which also deals damage for her, and so she's a reasonable option, and she's probably going to be your highest ascended. Odie, just stacking the poison on the opponent. You want to try and level up his exclusive weapon. The cutoff, ideally 10, because that 600 initial energy allows you to start getting the poison off sooner and cycling his ultimate. So I would try to get him to level 10 of exclusive weapon. That would probably be my priority. I got Shakir to level 10. I feel like he didn't contribute that much, honestly, to my score. Even I was expecting him to do a lot more at level 10, and it's mainly because of the fact that on autoplay mode, he's going to be ulting into the front line, chasing the wolf, and he's not going to be buffing up your back line, which is really what we wanted him to have. As for levels, I had 2 level 170s and 3 level 160s when I was able to get that almost 10 million score, and but my guildmates had level 180 close to around. Smokey, as we mentioned, 1 copy is good enough. He's here to apply the special aroma, which will have an attack buff for the entire team, and also sustain the team, and so that really the only way you're going to be dying is in the end when all the wolves attack, and they attack and focus like your backline heroes. But yeah, this is really it. Smokey Mickey increase their attack by 10% during battle, and if 3 or more, or that increases Smokey and Mirki's attack. But if we look at the this ability right here, increase the attack of allies within the Roma by 16%, and that is a lot, and it goes up to 18%, recovers energy. So he's just a great healer that also allows you to maximize your damage. So for bosses, he's perfect, and he doesn't get interrupted by the Primal, the Lone Wolf. So that is pretty much it for this video. That's all I wanted to talk about. I'm planning to do many more videos in the future, but I just wanted to make an intro video to the channel, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If it was useful to you, then be sure to subscribe for more AFK Journey content. I'm also planning to do a free-to-play account in the future once I completely understand like all the key heroes and what you should be focusing on, and I feel like I've learned a pretty good priority right now. But when it's your first time playing through the game, you're obviously going to make some mistakes and not make the best, most optimal guide. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If there's any other questions you have, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below, and hopefully this helps you out in your ranking in the Lone Wolf boss and even the Lone Bear in the future. But thank you for watching, and until the next one, everyone, peace out for now.